Welcome back. So this video, what we're gonna do, so we've already done our player boundaries, player movement, and what we're gonna do here on this video is we're actually gonna create the projectile, so the lasers. Right now, laser, I don't think my game's gonna be in space, but anyways, we're gonna create the projectile that the player's gonna shoot through their control. So that's what we're gonna do today. Before I did that, I do want to show some changes. So uh, I moved my code. So I took everything out of void update, as you can see, and I moved it down here. I made a new void for calculate movement and then referenced it in the update, just to kind of clean it up. And then I did what's called a clamp for my just for my Y's, so that way I could use one line of code instead of the four down here. I didn't do it to the X yet. I will do it. I just didn't do it yet, so I would be able to show you what a clamp looks like compared to the old. So I have the old if and else if statements here, but with this clamp, I was able to actually just revert it down to a single line. And then I added a line of pseudocode here, player movement and boundary limits. That way, later on, when I have hundreds of lines of code, I know exactly what this code means. So let's go back into the the thing. I also made this bigger again for you guys, so hopefully you're able to see it. So let's start. We need to create a laser. That's what we're going to call it for now. So we're going to create a 3D object, and we're going to do a capsule. That capsule is pretty big. Let's reset this to 0, tab 0 for the position. And then we're going to do 0.2 for now uh, for the capsule itself. So that way it's smaller and you can see it. Now this is actually going to be called what's called the prefab. So I don't want to make, oh, I need to rename it too. I don't want to have to make a whole bunch of lasers. I want all of them kind of to work together. So if I update one, it updates all of them in the instance. So um, I'm going to create a new folder down here called prefab. So create folder prefab. I could have done this on my own, but I didn't. I wanted you guys to see what I was doing. There you go. And then I'm going to, of course, drop the lasers into the prefab, so that way it's saved there. And then the next thing I need to do, of course, I'm going to go ahead and give it, I need to give it a material. So we have a player material already. Let's create a new material. Give me a second. Where the heck? There it is. And we're going to call this um, laser mat. I use the underscore mat. That way later on, if I want to search all my materials, I can just do that. I can just do mat. And let's color it here. Later on, I am going to change all of these. But for right now, I'm going to add art and everything. But for right now, this is just kind of what I'm doing. So there we go. I got the color, and I can drag and drop it on top of it, and then now my laser is green. So there you go. That we've created the capsule, renamed it to laser. We put it in the prefabs folder which we created, and then I spelt laser wrong. No, I spelled it right. LASE. I don't know. Anyways, and then I give it a material, a layer over it, so that way it has a color. So now we just kind of need to go into and mess with the code. All right, now that we've created the laser in our script, what we need to do is we need to create a game object, a game object for that laser prefab within the player script, so that way we can attach that prefab to the player script. And then we need to do a couple things. So we need to set an input. So whenever we press a key, we're going to do space. Whenever we press space, it's going to, the laser is going to shoot out, and then we need to designate where we want the laser to come out from. So for the game object, we're going to go over here. We'll do right under here in the public class. We're going to do it private, but we need to be able to see it, just like we did before. So we'll just serialize float. Simple enough. It did all that for me. So we're going to do private game object. And then again, it's going to be private. So we're going to do an underscore, and we're just going to call this laser prefab. No space, sorry. So we have that. Oh, semicolon to close it off. We have that, and now let's go ahead and we need to actually put in the input and everything for what we're going to do. So we need to set the if statement for if we put push a key down, um, what key what key is that going to be? So we're going to do an if statement. So if parentheses, we're going to do input dot get key. Now it's given us different options. We want get key down. I don't know if you guys could see that option. I didn't know if it showed you. And then we're going to do key code, which actually is there, key code and escape. So we're going to use pretty much the same thing. The only difference is I don't want it to be escape. I want it to be space. And then close, close. All right, now we need to actually say where we want, when we press space, the key code that we designated when it presses down, where do we want this prefab laser, our laser prefab to show up at? Because right now, if we did it, it's just going to show up in the center. It's just going to go there wherever it's at right now. It's not going to go anywhere. And right now, I think we have it positioned at 0, 0, 0. And they'll just stack on top of each other. But we want it to come from the player, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So that's what this is going to be. So this is called oh, I can't instantiate. So this is where it's creating a clone of the object. Make sure, yeah, this is where it's creating a clone of the object. So it's the word instantiate. Um, there it is there, instantiate, parentheses. Now we're going to do the underscore laser prefab, which it's recognized. We are going to do transform position, dot position for the character, and actually that's actually everything. The quanternarium, quaternium, and then identity. So it's representing the rotations, and it doesn't really matter. So it's just the default rotations that it's going to come up to be. So that should work. Now, if we do that, Control S, let's go back into our game. Now that's done. Now we have to go into the player, and now we actually have to drag the object onto laser prefab. Now you don't want to drag from the hierarchy. You want to drag it from your assets. So we'll drag that over there. And then now when we press play and I fly around, I press space, and now we just start spewing them out every time I press space. So we got that. Now we need to set direction, and then after that is going to be when do we want them to terminate, because we don't want them to go on forever. So, okay. So now that we have the inputs in for the laser to show up, and then its spawn position of the player, we need to create a script for the laser, create a script for the laser that's telling it what to do once it spawns. So for that, we're going to click scripts. We're going to create C# scripts. We're going to call it laser. And then we need to, it's creating it. Then we need to take the laser script, drag and drop it onto the laser. In the prefabs, again, not at the hierarchy. We're going to do it on the prefabs and then go into it. Let me switch to that. In scripts, so we need to give it a speed because we want this to say, hey, we want this to move at a certain pace. And then we need to actually make the transform translate for what we want it to do. What direction do we want it to do? So make that. So the first thing with speed, it's going to be exactly the same as we did with player. I'm going to do like I did there. I'm still going to do a private, but I'm going to do a serialized field private. So it was a private float. Since it's private, it's got an underscore speed, and then I am going to set it at 12, and then 0.0f. Now, and we could do an int if we didn't want, like I'm doing 12, right? So I don't necessarily need to be a float. A float is meant for things with decimal places. But if I decide that later I want to tweak it, I don't want to have to rewrite all this. So I'm just going to make it a float. Because that way, if I decide later on if there's a certain speed that I want for that item, I don't have to change that later. So that's why I'm not going to do that. Let me get rid of this. I don't want that there, and I definitely don't want that there. I know what those mean. All right, now we're going to go into our void update, and we're going to do the transform translate. Transform dot translate. Well, if I could spell it right. And then we're going to do a vector 3 dot up, because we want it to go up. Um, and because we only when we come out, obviously we're shooting forward. So that we're gonna do time speed. It's already recognized. Um, and the only thing that we need to do as well, because this is going to be 60 frames a second times the speed we set, so times 12, so 60 times 12. That's very fast. That's in meters. We don't really want that, so we want it to go in real time. So we want 12 meters per second. So we need to do a times um, time dot delta time, which is real time. Oh my gosh. uh, there you go. Which is real time. So we do that, and that's all saved. So that should be it. Let's do Control S. It should save. Let's go back. Let me take you guys back there. Let's go back into our game. So I can see the laser. We see the scripts added. We can see the speed that we added. If we press play, if I did it right, the first one shoots. Not sure, but yeah, there you go. See, they're all shooting as intended. So now, and I can mess with these speeds if I don't like it. If I mess with it in the play thing, it won't save. But let's do 15. See if we like that speed better. I kind of want these lasers to go faster. Um, we'll do 20. I like 20. I like 20 for now, so I'll change it there. So that's that. Now what we need to do is destroy the laser. So right now, like everything else, it is going off the screen. So like our player would, when it comes out of the screen, it just goes forever. So now what we need to do, oh, I don't know if you guys saw that. Y'all might have seen that. So if you guys look at the hierarchy, when I shoot this, it generates clones. As many clones as I press space, like that just keeps going on. Now that's going to break a game. After some time, it's going to break a game. So what I need to do now is I need to set a destroy like a when I want it destroyed. When it gets to whatever Y position, do I want that laser to disappear within my game? So that's what we're going to do next. So just like with our player boundaries, we need to find a position for us referencing Y where we want this object to disappear. So instead of setting a boundary, we're going to set a destroy command. So I'm just going to grab the laser, I'm going to drag it up to where it's off screen down there, and see what that is. So it looks like 711. So I can probably do 7.5, or I could just do 8 just to keep it clean. So that's what we're going to do. We'll do 7.5. So now we have that. If we go into our script, we just need to do an if and then what that if is. So a lot like we did with our player movement, we did infort if transform.position. Here X again, why I clamped him, but we're gonna pretty much do the exact same thing. Uh, the only difference is like it's gonna be we're just gonna do it here. So we go if transform. Give me that. Sorry, parentheses. Dot position dot y, because this is what we want to do it on, is greater than, what do we say, 7.5? No, we're going to set on 8. 8f. Now, what do we want that to do? So with an if statement, like before, you need to have uh, what's going to happen there. What's going to happen with it? So we want to, there's a command specifically for destroying objects. So we want destroy. And then we can do, like it says here, can you guys see that? Yeah. So we can do game object, which it will destroy the game object. But you can also do this. If you do this dot game object, um, that works as well. There's other things you can do here. If we wanted, can you see the code? You guys can't see this code. Um, you can't see it, but you can press up or down on it. You can't see it though. You can press up or down on it, and it tells you different options you can do. So if we wanted to, we could add a float for a time. So if we wanted this to destroy in like maybe 5 seconds, rather than immediately, we could do that. But we're not gonna do that right now. So we did that. Let's do Control S. So this should go work in the game. Let's go back to that. And then now if we hit play, I zoomed out so you should be able to see it. Now if we hit play, now you can see when I shoot, they disappear. So you can see that they're disappearing now. They're no longer going forever, and they're also disappearing from the hierarchy. So that's what we wanted to do. So that is successful. There we go. So that was everything. That was we created an object, the laser object. We gave it a material, so and we labeled it as a prefab. So now it clones itself within the code. In the player script, we designated when we hit a certain button. So when get key down, so when we press space, that prefab appears from the location that we set within inside the player script, and it clones itself. And then we created a script for the laser, defining that when the laser appears, we want it to go up. We set the speed that we want it to go up and made it so we can change it within inside the inspector. And then we set a limit once it hits a certain point on the y-axis, it disappears. That way we don't have infinite clones within our game hierarchy, which down the road as you're playing the game, it's going to slow things down. So that's what we did, and I mean that's all good, right? So thanks. If you have any questions, please feel free to put it down in the comments. I'll be happy to answer any questions. And then today's a little short one, and then we'll do some more stuff with those lasers in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm learning a lot, and I like doing these because it kind of for me it's a check on learning to make sure that I do know what I'm talking about, and then I always have a video reference for myself later on. That way I can see what I did if I'm doing other games. Like, oh man, I don't remember how to do this. Well, let me go look at my own stuff. So cool. Thanks for watching. And then I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, bye.